Terry Brock, and today I've got a real treat for you. We're going to talk about some of the ways that you can use technology on the road for collaboration, getting through to people more. And to do that, we've got Chris Brogan joining us right now from his office. Chris, thanks for being with us today.
Terry, very much my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it is always good to talk with you and find out about some of the latest things that are happening. And I know you do a lot of traveling. You're on the road a lot. You're working with a lot of people to not just communicate, but to get things done and collaborate with them. And that's what collaboration is all about. What kind of tools are you using right now that are some of your best and most favorite tools today to collaborate with others, particularly when you're on the road and mobile?
As a quick point of disclosure, one of my clients is Citrix Online, who does GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, etc. So with them, we started using the term work shifting to describe the people that are in the mobile and distributed workforce. So you're not hitting me unawares with this, because it's something that's been on my mind pretty seriously for a couple of years now.
Good.
And the tools I use besides a mobile phone, and when I say I use a mobile phone, I should stress that I use a smartphone. I tend to use an Android-flavored one. Other people are big fans of the iPhone. I use that because right then and there, there's already a lot of technology opportunity into a small device. I use software such as Yammer, which is like a private Twitter for communication purposes.
Yammer, right?
I do switch to things like GoToMeeting if I need to do screen sharing or desk sharing, and I've used the same on Skype as well, which I find very useful. Is if I need to show you a whole view of my desk and sort of pass information back and forth, I do that.
Yeah, that's a nice one. A lot of people don't use that, but it's very handy to be able to say, hey, look at what's going on here, which can also be translated into a PowerPoint or Keynote kind of presentation.
Absolutely. And, you know, one of the ways that I've used that very specific thing, screen sharing on Skype, was when my new logo design on chrisbrogan.com was being unveiled to me. Justin Evans, who's a company in Montreal called Stress Limit, did it over Skype like that so that he could expose the parts of the drawing that he wanted to show me at one point and kind of do a reveal. So he was showing part of the screen and kind of moving the page around so that it would reveal stuff.
Ooh, I like it.
And it worked rather well. And again, something creative like that, where there's collaboration and back and forth, we used it that way. It was very useful.
Oh, very good. Those kind of things are good. Well, how does that play into the overall function of getting the job done? How is it different today using those tools than it was, say, 10, 15, 20 years ago when they would get together physically to talk about getting work done?
Well, sure. I mean, even as far back as 2005 or so, I was experimenting with how to be mobile and distributed, mainly because my office was 41 miles from my house, and it was about an hour and 20 minutes one way. So I was thinking up ways that I could collaborate, and we would do anything from shared documents and shared drive type stuff to as much as we could over the phone pass creative information back and forth. What's happened now, though, in the more recent times of 5 more years or 6 years, is that you could use things like Google Docs, where, for example, Julian Smith and I, who wrote the book Trust Agents, we wrote that book together online on Google Docs while he was in Montreal and I was here in Boston.
Excellent. And by the way, I have to interrupt you and say you did a fabulous job with that. I love that book. And you as a reader, if you're and watcher, you're viewing this video, you need a good book and help you on that. Trust Agents, I highly recommend. Excuse me for interrupting there, Chris, but I couldn't let you get away without an endorsement on your book.
You're very kind. But that's different, because the way it used to be was you'd maybe write a Word document, you'd send it to somebody, they'd do a review, they would have that sort of track changes. But I mean, we were literally writing live at the same time in real time. And it really changed the flow of the way the book would go, because as I was developing an idea, Julian might interrupt and go, I really don't get what you mean, please add something. Live. And so I was in that space, I was there, so I could just keep adding to it and kind of riff instead of wait for edits and wait for communication and all that. So I think those are some of the things that changed. The other big change, I'd say, Terry, is video. I mean, for example, us communicating in video right now, because bandwidth has gotten cheaper, because it's gotten faster, we've had a better chance to use video in a lot more ways. And Apple with FaceTime and Quick on other kinds of phones are really allowing a lot of right-in-the-moment live video, which is just amazing for collaboration.
Yeah, it is amazing. And the fact that we can then dissolve geographical barriers, it makes it very nice. And I'm here in Florida with sunshine and no snow, and I understand you've got some of that white stuff on the ground there, right?
Boy, do I. We've had so many snowstorms in Massachusetts that at this point, we're not even sure where to put it anymore. We've gone as vertical as we can, and now we're just trying to find new ways to tuck in other places.
Yeah, and the nice thing is, even in the midst of all of that, we can get get work done. We can collaborate. We can see each other with video. We can get a lot done. And I think it brings us closer together now as a world, that maybe as we're working together, we're collaborating more, we'll be able to solve problems by talking with each other rather than shooting guns and bombs. But that's a whole nother discussion. And we can be optimistic. Well, where are we going, Chris? You look into the future, get your crystal ball out there, rub it real well there, and tell me, where do you see us going in the next long term, say 6 months, to a year, which with technology, that's a long time.
I was thinking, please don't make me think many years out. I think that extrapolating on what I pulled out of the Consumer Electronics Show in January in Las Vegas when we were last together, I think that what I'm seeing is a lot more use of tablets and a lot more use of mobile wireless. And when I say that, I mean things like the MiFi cards and 4G that allows you to connect lots of devices to it. I think what we're going to see is more use of the 7 and 9-inch tablet computers to do a lot more workhorse type stuff that we're doing. Anyone who's a bit of a creator, a content maker, knows that those tablets aren't exactly the best thing to make original content from. Right. But a lot of what we do in a day is consuming and interacting and just sort of pushing stuff back and forth. And those tablets are perfect for that. The Samsung Galaxy Tab, the iPad, of course, and then even there's the new Playbook that's coming from RIM, who is hoping to become a contender in that field as well.
Yeah, exactly. As a matter of fact, I have to grab my little tool right here. I've got my wonderful little iPad here using it. So many have it. It's really working well. It's largely today for consuming information, which is great. A little bit of production, but I think with the new ones that we'll see very soon, they'll do a lot more of that. And it just changes the way that we can do things. It makes us more mobile. It makes it easier, and it lets us connect much more. And I think that's a very good thing all the way around.
Yep, and I would say that one of the things that I found with regards to the iPad specifically was I think Jobs is smarter than I thought he was, because that device caused me to go and buy the new MacBook Air.
Yeah.
Because I very much did not like the fact that I couldn't really produce on it, but I loved the lightweight, small, low, longer battery life feeling. And so I bought the 13-inch, not the 11-inch MacBook Air, which affords me a longer battery life, solid state drive, very lighter type of thing, and it's just downright yummy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. A buddy of mine, Dan Burris, put out a book, Flash Foresight. He talks about those things, and they're just got a MacBook Air himself, and he's just raving about it. I saw it, and I thought, yeah, it looks really good. I'm kind of leaning toward the MacBook Pro myself, only because I'm doing so much video and audio production, and it's got a little more horsepower. But the nice thing about it is they're getting smaller, they're getting faster, and the bottom line is we can all collaborate a whole lot more. And if someone wants to collaborate with you directly, they want to get in touch with you, Chris, what's the best way for them to do that?
Oh, probably easiest is swing by chrisbrogan.com, and I have a whole page of ways you can contact me, and feel free to look around while you're there.
Yes, and one of the things I'd recommend to you watching this is be sure and sign up for Chris's e-zine. Very helpful, and I love the information. Coming out at usually about 7 a.m. Eastern time every day. Is that right, Chris?
It's funny because I ask it to publish at 4:30, but by the time it hits people's email subscription, it is closer to 7:30.
Well, with the snow and everything, you never know. It's going to be like that, I guess. Chris, it is always good to see you. Thank you very much, my friend. Hope you have a great day.
Thanks, Terry.